Surprise, surprise. Welcome back to the Sunday Spread. That's right. We're not just going to be here during the football season. We're going to be here all year around. Same group of characters, too. My man to the right, Barrett Brooks, the Super Bowl champ, the savant, somebody who can give you a little bit about everything and give you a lot of it about a lot of things because he knows a lot of things. Our girl, Devin Kenny, not here today because she's at spring training, covering the Phillies, covering baseball, so she better come back here with all types of bets, with all types of inside information to give us some good stuff on the show.
She's working real hard, though, down in the sun.
Yeah,
it's freezing up here, down in the sun,
She on the beach chilling, relaxing, having fun while we up here in snow, getting cold, and things are freezing over here. I am Sean Bell, your host. Again, this is Sunday Spread. Even if there's no football, we got something for you to cook with. All right, this is a Sunday Spread. If y'all know, y'all know. It's all different type of food, all different type of things we can give you in the Sunday Spread. Barrett, let me ask you before we even get into it. The Sunday Spread, what's your favorite side meal? What's your favorite side dish to a Sunday Spread?
Hey, bro, I got to say mashed potatoes, man. That's my thing. In fact, not to say that I was superstitious, but for 12 years, well, actually started when I was in college. 3 years in college and then 12 years in NFL. I had to have fried chicken, mashed potatoes with ranch on it before every game, whether it be that night or even that morning.
I ain't never seen that ranch on mashed potatoes.
Yeah, bro.
Ranch?
It's an acquired taste. And
that sounds like some country boy stuff. Right?
Man, I loved it. So, to put it in perspective, one of my coaches I didn't have him like, yo, are we having it in the morning? Are we going to have it? No, we're not going to have it. I said, you got to give me time. Now, we got to be in at a certain time. Say, Coach, I got to go. So I was able to go out, Kentucky Fried Chicken, grab my mashed potatoes and fried chicken with my ranch and brought back. I was that much of a freak on it. I needed to have it.
Hey, KFC got some good mashed potatoes.
Man,
I'm with you.
Crushed it.
Yeah, I'm a mashed potato. I mean, the mashed potatoes are baked mac and cheese. One of those things.
Man. I'm not a cheese guy, man.
Baked mac and cheese. Come on, man. You got a little baked mac and cheese.
I know it's like blasphemy in the black home to not really want to eat. I'll eat it out of necessity, but I'm just not gonna say, all right, I want that.
Nah, give me that baked mac, and it got to be cooked by the right person.
Right.
There's a lot of people who mess up some good baked mac and cheese. So that's the side dish. But again, we got all types of things for you. Not just football. We covering the basketball landscape, the baseball landscape. We're covering everything that we can cover. But what's hot off the stove? What's the main plate? Is always going to be football because football is king. So let's start with the football. Off-season moves. Things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Teams are trying to figure out how to be the Eagles.
Yep.
How to be the Eagles and how to beat the Eagles. And Aaron Rodgers is the hottest thing always because he's always the main person that people are talking about, whether it's doing weird things in rooms that are dark, whether it's all type of conspiracy theories, hopping on podcasts. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets will be no more. The Jets are saying they're moving on. So now the question is, where will Aaron Rodgers go? First, I'll ask you, does Aaron Rodgers even have it anymore? And if so, where do you think he goes?
If you ask my analysis on him, he was healthy for a great part of the year, but did he go out there and show that he's still the guy that we saw in Green Bay? I didn't see it. Now, will a team invest in him? There's no question somebody will bring him in, but do I feel he still is that quarterback? Man, it was like for 4 or 5 years he was the best quarterback in the league. I mean, he was slinging it. I mean, he just had that magic. Him and Devontae Adams had that magic while they were in Green Bay. They split up the Fat Boys, and everything was just over after that, bro. I mean, he was going downhill. Adams goes to the Raiders, and he goes to the Jets, and I don't know, man. But he's not at a point right now where I say that I would invest in him as a player.
He's washed.
I ain't gonna say he washed.
He washed. He done. He's washed. Throw that thing in the washer. Let it go, man. Don't even put it in the dryer. After it comes out the wash, throw it away.
You're not even gonna hang it up, man.
Hang it. No, it's done. Don't even let that thing dry. That's how. Again, Aaron Rodgers. We saw what he was last season. We've all saw what he was the last couple of seasons. He ain't him anymore.
Right.
He needs the perfect set of circumstances to thrive. Right? That's what happens with older quarterbacks. You saw Tom Brady like that in the last couple of years where I need a great offensive line. I need a great running game. I need a great wide receiver. I need great defense. Right? Yep. Like, I need all of those things, and then I'll look like a really good Super Bowl winning quarterback. But if anything else breaks down, I can't get it done. Aaron Rodgers reminds me, I say this all the time, of my favorite boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
A guy who, mechanics-wise, when it came to boxing, wasn't a guy to focus on mechanics. And soon as your athleticism goes, soon as some things go, all of a sudden you ain't as great anymore because you are not a technician at what you do. Aaron Rodgers knows the technical things, but he still tries to do the off-the-back foot gunslinger type of things.
And ain't got that arm.
He can't do it anymore. He doesn't have an arm. He doesn't have it. He oftentimes goes away from those mechanics, and that leads to interceptions. So now he needs a perfect scenario, perfect situation in order to be great, and he can't get that, and so he is washed. So,
what team would you say he could go to then?
Nowhere.
There's a couple. I'm be honest with you. I was going through my list and everything, but I was thinking, maybe the Browns.
The Browns.
I mean, look at their quarterback situation.
Yeah,
they need something. You know what I'm saying? They need something. When Jameis Winston's your best player at the quarterback position, I don't know if you got enough. But I do think defensively they have enough for anybody that comes in.
Myles Garrett is asking out.
Of course he's asking out. He's on the cusp of, man, he's tired of doing it for the, give him the hometown discount. He's tired of going out there and busting his butt, being the best player on the defensive side of the ball in football and not reaping the rewards of winning and just winning, period.
I just don't think there's any scenario. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, people have rumored that, and maybe that would be a good scenario. But again, you've been in that organization. Are they going to deal with what comes with Aaron Rodgers? That's the other aspect that you got to think about. Your whole life you've been good enough where distractions don't matter, and that's the story of sports. When you're great, you can get away with anything. Is he good enough anymore for Mike Tomlin and that Pittsburgh organization to allow for him to come in and act the way he does?
SB, I'm going to tell you this. That organization right now, with Mike Tomlin being one of the best coaches in the league, is on the cusp of, them going into their fourth head coach. And be realistic, you know what I'm saying? I think it might be that time. Because Mike Tomlin, I mean, he's never had a losing season. He's always had a winning season. But it's so helter-skelter now with the way that team is acting. They already have a diva receiver. Then they bring in a quarterback that, goes and sleeps in caves and darkness and smoking peyote and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think that they would want that type of thing. Because, I mean, I'm going to tell you, that's one of the best organizations in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Pittsburgh Steelers organization is great. I can remember, I had left Pittsburgh. I retired and left Pittsburgh. And I, started calling, college football games. And I'm, going and I'm doing a Pittsburgh game. I go in, I interview on the other side. Because their building is right there in the same building as the Pittsburgh, college football team. So I interview the Pitt Panthers, you know what I'm saying? So it's lunchtime, so I walk out, and as I walk out, I was like, you know what, let me go across, hallway and see who's there, you know what I'm saying? So I'm warning them, and I see the owner. I say, hey, how you doing? Mr. Rooney, everything good? Like, oh, yeah, Porch Eye. They call me Porch Eye. Porch Eye, how you doing, man? Come in and have lunch with me. So I go in and have lunch with him. So he's one of those guys, he's like, hey, how's your wife, Sonia, Sanji? She's doing well. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, Sanji. He said, how's the kids? He said, man, you used to almost break me. I said, what you talking about? He's talking about, he said, well, every Christmas, we had to get you guys Build-A-Bears, and you have 5 kids, them 5 Build-A-Bears. I'm like, come on, Mr. Rooney. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, billionaire, but that's a good family environment.
He knew my wife's name. He knew I had 5 kids. He knew the Build-A-Bears. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's a first-class organization. Mm-hmm. They're not going to want peyote smoking and being in dark caves and being on podcasts with people. They don't want all that.
And especially at the quarterback, because they've dealt with Antonio Brown. Yeah. They've dealt with Mr. ISS over there at wide receiver that they got now. They dealt with him. Oh, they dealt with all of that. So I don't think that the only spot I think is a curious spot is the Minnesota Vikings. If Sam Darnold isn't signed there because they don't want to pay him because they want J.J. McCarthy to be their future, if J.J. McCarthy's coming off an injury, they may need a rental veteran quarterback that would be a decent price to compete. Again, they just coming off of 14 wins. If they have a decent quarterback, they can do that. So if they're like, okay, J.J. is ready.
Is there too.
Yeah. Addison, all those guys. T.J. Hawkinson, just a good squad. So if they're like JJ still needs to sit for a second, then I could see that possibly happen. Let's go.
No, I'm thinking of Saints too, though.
Nah,
New court. I mean, new head coach. New offense.
they stink.
I mean, him competing against Carr.
He ain't gonna want to go there and stink though. Like Aaron's only gonna want to go somewhere that can compete for a chip. He's too old for all of that. And he ain't mentoring nobody. Right. So I don't know if I see that.
That we
happen.
do know. Oh yeah, and the Raiders also.
Yeah, because
wouldn't you be pissed if he goes to the Raiders after you leave? Adams leaves the Raiders and gets traded up there, and then he goes to the Raiders.
Oh yeah, I mean Adams has to hate him now anyway. But for sure. I just think he's on that Brett Favre track.
Yeah,
I play for the Packers, then I play for the Jets, then I play for Minnesota. I think that can possibly happen. And
good point.
I've been one of the most liked quarterbacks to one of the least liked quarterbacks through my time span. Right? And people used to love me, now people hate me. That's Aaron Rodgers. That's Brett Favre. Let's get to the other guy, Matthew Stafford. Again, I thought him and McVay, that was a marriage.
Me too.
But apparently that ain't such a marriage. What do you think about Matt Stafford and where he can go?
Matt Stafford, he was probably the second best quarterback we played last year. Mm-hmm. The Eagles played last. I'm sorry, I said we. The Eagles played last year.
It's a week. A week.
Yeah. But he's still got it, man. He still's got a rifle of an arm. Still is real tied to the game. Can beat anybody. He's probably the second best quarterback after Patty Mahomes that they played against. So he still has enough in him that he can make a team go from good to great. So, I mean, what about he goes to the Raiders? But the chance of them winning now, that's kind of tough.
It's just the Raiders are going to be, okay, let's go get Shador, let's go get Cam. And
But they still got to wait a little bit, for those guys to come in and play. Yeah. What's another team I was thinking
about? Matthew Stafford's one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to look at, hey, let's just come over here. You are a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You're better than what we got if they don't decide to go with Justin Fields. So I can see the Pittsburgh Steelers being a spot if he needs to go anywhere. I don't think the NFC West will allow it.
No.
Because if the 49ers don't sign Brock, I can see him like, hey, Matt, come over here. We got a 1-year rental chance for you to win a Super Bowl. But, again, I don't think the Rams will allow him to be in the NFC West. So, again, AFC, Pittsburgh Steelers is what I'm looking at. Even your Cleveland Browns, even though I think Matt would hate that.
Well, he would be – Now, they don't have a bad squad. They got a good offensive line, good running back situation. Their receiving core is kind of subpar, but he can make them great.
Yeah. And I think you said earlier, off cam to me, the Jets.
And the Jets, yeah. The Jets, you put the Jets and the Browns in the same category. They're a quarterback away from being a contender in their division. Mm-hmm. A contender in their division. So, that's definitely a possibility there.
Kenny says the Giants. Our producer. I just don't know. I don't see Matt or Aaron going to a place where they're in rebuild mode.
Now, they're definitely in rebuild mode.
I need win right away stuff. If you're trying to win right away, again, there's not many teams that are saying to themselves, we're a quarterback away right now. Yeah. You either got your guy or you're in a situation where we just got to tear this thing from the bottom and rebuild a little bit. So,
absolutely.
I don't know if that can possibly happen. Any other dominoes that you can see fall quarterback-wise anywhere else? So you talking about Brock Purdy's contract. We're talking about Sam Darnold's contract. Where can Sam Darnold go? Do you think Sam Darnold goes back to Minnesota, or do you think he's out of here and someone gives him a fat contract?
I think he's going to do kind of what you saw with Atlanta and Cousins. Mm-hmm. Same type of situation. Semi-big numbers. What he got? He got 2 years, 3 years. 4 years. Was it 4 years?
I don't remember what it was.
Well, I know it was upwards over $100 million, and I can see Sam Darnold having that same type of contract because everybody right now wants the same type of Tampa Bay situation. You know what I mean? Yeah. They want that type of situation where a guy comes in and wins early, and I really think that that's possible in places, but you got to be able to go out there and really ball out. And is he that type of player? I don't think so. Yeah,
to me, it would still. I know they want J.J. McCarthy. To me, it would behoove them to keep Sam Darnold, and let them compete it out, right? And let Sam Darnold, because I'm.
You got to pay him
unless they saw something on J.J. Everything I saw, I know he won a national championship, but as a Penn Stater, everything I saw out of him, I go, that ain't the guy.
Yeah.
This ain't the guy. And I know I was wrong this year about Bo Nix, but I was like, JJ was worse. It's like, this ain't the guy that's gonna take you over the mountaintop. This ain't even a guy that I felt like should be a first rounder. He has some of the he's big and he's strong.
Yeah.
But he ain't have nothing else that could come with that. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we'll get to the rest of the NFL news, free agency. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Is that Bengal wide receiver core going to be broken up? They don't want that to happen. At least Joe Burrow doesn't want that to happen. And also, we'll go around the sports world. What's going on in the NBA? Victor Wenbanyama. Sad news. Sad news with him and everyone else. And maybe we'll get into a little baseball. That's coming up on the Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM.
Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly.
Once again, welcome back to the Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM. Sean Bell here, Barrett Brooks here, Kenny Henderson producing. Devin Caney will be back next week. Let's get to some other topics when it comes to the NFL in free agency. The Bengals, one of the biggest topics. They got to pay a lot of people. Ooh. All their wide receivers want big-time bread. Jamar Chase talking about he want $40 million a year, right? T. Higgins, you better pay me. And T. Higgins is looking like he'll be franchise tagged, and Joe Burrow's putting the pressure to sign everybody back. Do you see this being a general problem? Do you think they should potentially just let one of those wide receivers walk?
Well, first off, it's not one of them wide receivers. It's going to be T. Higgins, if anybody. So when you look at it, I doubt seriously if you don't give Jamar Chase the money that he deserves. I mean, you look at the Eagles situation. They signed A.J. again after they paid, the Slim Reaper. How do you go out and pay both guys and you play a guy twice just to, make things, honorable in that locker room. Keep the testosterone down. You go out and pay AJ again. Do they have a GM that could do that? Howie Roseman's that guy. He was able to do it. But to put T. Higgins back on the franchise list, that means you're going to pay him again. You're going to pay him $26 million. The franchise tag for a guy is $26 million. If you're T. Higgins, that's a lot of bread. But you want a little security. You don't know if you're going to be hurt or not. Mm-hmm. You don't know. So you want a long-term contract. And to put him back on, on that franchise tag, I'd be a little pissed off. It'll be the last time they can do it too. So $26 million and then give, $40 million to Jamar Chase. Is that possible? It's doable.
That's a lot of bread.
But it's the easiest way to get something done that you can stay under that cap. Because the cap went up this year.
I'm be honest with you. I'm trading T. Higgins. I'm not paying that bread. It's just how he gets away with this because half his defense is on rookie contracts.
Exactly. That's like not signing a quarterback. That's why he's able to do it.
Half your defense is on rookie contracts. Oh, yeah, right? Like Jalen Carter, N'Kobe Dean,
starters.
Nolan Smith, yes, Cooper DeJean, Quinn. When you have that many guys on rookie contract, it's easy, right? But that's not the case for the Cincinnati Bengals. And they defense stinks.
Yeah.
So you can't put that type of bread in the wide receiver position when your defense stinks like this. And again, unless you're going to be lucky enough to have a bunch of cheap guys on rookie contracts, you can't do them. So again, I'm tagging and trading. Trade them. I need defense. I need something because I am 100% confident in Joe Burrow to have an explosive offense regardless. Right? I got one wide receiver. I can pick up another decent wide receiver in the draft. May not or not even in the draft. Well, wide receivers in the draft are all great nowadays. Like all the wide receivers in this last draft were all really good. So, but even if it's not the draft, free agency, to fill in that a little bit in the offense, maybe the offense takes a step back a little bit. But if my defense is what it was last year, you are wasting Joe Burrow. You're wasting Dan Marino, basically.
Yep.
Right? Like Joe Burrow is doing Dan Marino-like things, and you're wasting it with having such a bad defense. So to me, you can't put all this money in the wide receiver position. Again, Harry Roseman is a genius. He's great at what he does, but he's able to do it because he was so great in the draft the last.
And plus, you have to pay, Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson wants a new contract, so he's like, "Hey, I shouldn't have to come to you. You know what I'm saying? You need to come to me, pay me. I'm the best thing you have on defense." And all that's right. He is the best thing they have on defense. That's a lot of guys to pay. 2 wide receivers and a defensive lineman. We're talking about, that's a lot of money.
And my hot take a little bit is wide receivers are the new running backs. And I say that because you can find a great wide receiver anywhere nowadays. Like
or make them great.
Or make them great. Just look at the draft. Yeah. Right? Like it used to be, you can find a great running back anywhere. But we're starting to see the difference between a good running back and what a special running back does. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bijan Robinson. Those guys are different from the rest.
Yes.
Wide receiver-wise, I can find a really good one in the draft every single year because of the new rules when it comes to the offense and letting them being it. You're not able to touch a guy. You're not able to hit a guy too hard. I can find that anywhere. So I'm not paying you $27 million for a franchise tag. I'm not paying you $30 million a year. I'm not doing it. You look at Ladd McConkey over in the Chargers. We're able like, Ladd, come over here. We could be at a 1,000-yard receiver.
Right.
Like you're able to get that. Kenny's naming all the guys: Ladd McConkey, Malik Neighbors, Thomas Jr., even the kid with the 49ers that I liked. I'm blanking on his name. He got shot.
Right. From Florida.
He got Persall.
Yep.
He got shot and came back and was like, but once he gets things going, Ricky Persall, he's going to be really good.
Well, you look at Washington. Washington's the same way. Zacchaeus, Olamide Zacchaeus left the Eagles and went start balling for the Commanders. I mean, they don't even have
Xavier
it.
Worthy. Like Kenny just is listing names. Like all these, like I can get one of y'all. Like I can get T. They might not be as good as you, T, but I can get one serviceable enough. What I don't have is enough pass rushers. What I don't have is enough corners to hold some things down. So that's what I would do. Let's look at here again. We're broadcasting in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia studios. Coaching, right? Let's move from the players to the coaching. The Eagles found a new offensive coordinator, Kevin Patillo.
Yep.
Hired him as their new guy. They also hired a 33-year-old as their, I believe, quarterback coach.
I think he's more so offensive
assistant.
Yeah.
Whatever he's going to be, offensive game planning coach. But they hired a new guy who's only 33 years old. I'm like, what have I done with my life? You know what I mean? Where this guy's 32, 33 years old, getting these type of job opportunities. But what's your feel? I mean, you've been in and out of that locker room. You talk to all the guys. What's your feel on Kevin Patillo?
I really think that Kevin Patillo is probably the safest guy that they can bring in. Everybody's pissed off that he hasn't called plays. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, so what that he hasn't called plays? When you see what you had this year and the means of which they did it, they ran the rock. And what Moore didn't do is stop running the rock, even though they were stopping the run, because they knew at some point it was going to bust open. Mm-hmm. And you got to have that type of patience. Does Kevin Patillo, because he was the passing game coordinator, for the Eagles. Mm-hmm. So he was involved in the game plan, breaking down film, tied with Jalen as far as, in his ear sometimes, with implementing the game plan. So it'll be a seamless fit. But, like Jalen said, Jalen's like, he was around, yes, but this will be a totally different set of game planning that he'll be involved with. He'll be, initially calling the play. But one thing I'll say, Jalen is used to having these multiple offensive coordinators, and I really think that the offense started adapting to his skill set, because even though you would call a play, he was good enough to change the play and make it a better play. Mm-hmm. He evolved as a quarterback to put himself in a better position, put the offense in a better position. So he'll still have a lot of autonomy to go out there and be a guy on the field that could take over if the play calling isn't to what he sees on the field. So I think it's a smooth transition. I think it'll be good. Him and Nick Sirianni are like this. Patillo and Nick Sirianni are like this. Does that help? Does that hinder? We'll see.
What I don't like is we've seen this once before. The offensive coordinator goes and gets a head coaching job. You hire the guy within that everybody likes that has no offensive coordinator history. That was Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
And we saw how that ended, right? Like he wasn't – I still think Brian Johnson could have grew into it, but too young, too early.
Yeah, well, it's his first year being in it was his second year being in the NFL, first year being an offensive coordinator. He was just in college 2 years earlier.
Yeah. But, again, that's why I'm like, we've seen this before. It didn't work out. I would have liked to see the Eagles bring in somebody who's just a pure vet.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with you hiring this young Patillo as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But bring in an assistant or some guy like Frank Wright or somebody who's just like,
that's my pick. Yeah,
that guy is a vet and can help Patillo along with the play calling as he's learning. Like, just bring in. It's always good to have a vet players and vet coaches to sort of guide the youngins through these things, and they didn't choose to do that. All right, let's take a pivot from football for a second. Let's go around the sporting world. And around the sporting world, the biggest thing that happened over this week is Victor Wenbanyama.
Oh, man.
A blood clot in the shoulder. Tough, right? Because those things could be absolutely fatal. But he is done for the season. It doesn't seem like something that's going to be career-ending ending or a career problem. Doesn't look like it's going to be something he's going to have to worry about in the future in regards to his health, but still out for the season. What does that do for the NBA to have him going?
Just one of the bright stars, man. You're talking about a guy that's 7 foot, can shoot like a guard from 3-point range, running well. He's starting to get a little tougher, too. And that was the big thing with me. He's starting to get a little tougher. You look at his numbers, average 24 points a game. Started to board a little bit, get a little body to him. He's starting to, work himself into this NBA body. So, 11 boards. He averaged 3 blocks a game. But the thing with me is his presence on the court in the middle. It started to be something, guys can just come in just, shooting the way they used to. He was starting to be a force, make you alter your shots, playing defense. This really hurts the NBA a little bit, I think that, he was finally turning the corner and being a threat, in going into the playoffs, going into, the Spurs turning that corner, become a better team.
Yeah, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3, almost 4 blocks a game, 47% from the field. Again, he's supposed to be the guy who dominates and takes over the NBA
Absolutely.
in a couple years.
Yep.
And him being out again, that's a scary situation. But it's actually kind of good because the Spurs, they're a little bit disappointing this year,
Very
right?
much
They
so.
weren't on the road to get into the playoffs. They weren't on the road to actually doing anything. I don't know if that played a part in shutting it down, but
that probably is a major thing in shutting it down.
Yeah, but again, maybe with that situation, you needed to shut it down regardless. But again, they're not what we thought they were going to be so far. Again, they're 3 games out of the play-in game, 24-29, in a good Western Conference. So again, that's going to hurt them. That's not a good situation, but
better than they were last year, though.
Yeah,
better than they were last. He was starting to turn the corner, man.
They got De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is absolutely that 2 pair. And to me, in 2 years, is going to be the best 2 pairing in basketball. Victor Wenbanyama and De'Aaron Fox are going to dominate.
Yeah.
And you saw it even last night. San Antonio Spurs got a win, or a couple nights ago they got a couple wins because De'Aaron Fox is absolutely balling and is out of here right now. With that said, again, we got to talk. We're in Philadelphia. Sixers. I said they were blown out by the Boston Celtics the other day. I said,
blown out.
It's
too.
time to blow it up.
Yeah.
It's time to restart the process, in my opinion.
So,
it's time to restart the process.
He said restart the process.
Blow it all up, and tank again. I'm talking about 10 wins, 15 wins. I'm talking about trade everybody. Trade Joel, trade Tyrese Maxey. Yes, Tyrese Maxey, trade Paul
they ain't
George.
doing that.
Trade them all. Because if you keep Tyrese Maxey, then you're going to be too good to get the number 1 pick. Trade everybody, dog. Like, that's what – and, again, I love Joel Embiid. He's too hurt at this point. Again, to have that long-term deal, he's too hurt. Paul George ain't even happy here. You got to – again –
and he's playing like that, too. That's the thing. He's playing like that, man. He's playing like that.
Yeah. You got to destroy it all. I don't know what you think, but would you trade Joel Embiid at this point? A lot of people in Philadelphia have already been on that.
Well,
I'm now on that again.
You saying trade Joel Embiid? You got to have a taker to do that. Nobody wants to take that on.
There's a fool everywhere. All you need is one, and I don't even think it's full. Like, I think Joel Embiid can give someone a solid 40 minutes. I mean, not 40 minutes, a solid 40 games.
Yeah, 40 games.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just
going somewhere like maybe Cleveland. Bunch of young guys, a veteran guy there in the middle. You got some guys that perimeter shooters. I mean, I think that could work.
Go to Cleveland, even go to the Clippers. Like, go to somewhere where they're used to guys sort of sitting out.
Yep.
The team will make it to the playoffs, and then you can just play in the playoffs and do what you need to do and try to figure it out. But to me, you can still get. You're not going to get the Rudy Gobert haul where you get 4, 5, 6, 7 first round picks. Like, you're not going to get that type of haul. But at this point, I would just be like, all right, just give me 1 or 2 first round picks, a couple players. Take Joel Embiid. Same thing with Paul George. I would be the Utah Jazz. Tank status. Because the Oklahoma City Thunder did that for 3 years. Yep. They basically did the 76ers process.
And look where they are now.
The number 1 team in the West. Got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Got Chet Holmgren. They absolutely balling.
Yep.
And so you need to fire Daryl Morey too. You need to fire everybody.
Well,
Nick Nurse, fire everybody. I'm telling you, I want to see them win 8 games next year.
Come on, man. No.
I want to see them win 8
Bro, you
games
realize what we
next
went
year.
through? They were averaging 10 games a year, winning 10 games a year.
They had
like
a
2
they
or
had
3
a
years,
10 and
bro.
72. Like, I don't care.
Nah,
Get me back to that.
I can't handle that, man.
Get me back to that, and let's restart this thing all over again. All right, listen, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to play a little game that I like to play called Fact or Cap.
Right.
For those who don't know what cap is mean it's a lie.
Yep.
So spot the lie. Fact or cap, I'm going to give you a statement, and you got to tell me whether it's a fact or whether it's cap. We'll be right back on the Sunday Spread.
Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly.
Welcome back to the Sunday Spread final segment. Of course, presented by BetMGM. Sean Bell here, Barrett Brooks here. Let's play my game called Fact or Caps.
All right.
Fact or cap. All right, this is pretty simple. I'm going to read a statement out. I'm going to say a statement, and you're going to tell me whether you think it's facts or whether you think it's cap. For those who don't know, cap means a lie. All right, so let's start it off. And this has been sort of a hot button topic because a lot of people in Philadelphia have hated this. I wish actually Devin was here too, so I can spice y'all up and make y'all angry. Fact or cap? Jalen Hurts is already a better quarterback than Cam Newton was at his peak.
That's pretty tough. I mean, we're talking about a guy's MVP level candidate. Went to the Super Bowl also. I'm gonna go cap.
Ooh.
I'm going cap.
I did not expect you to.
I'm just saying, but let me tell you why.
Okay.
We're talking about a guy that had nothing and had him balling. He was 6'6", 250, 260 pounds, could run like a deer. And, I mean, he had all the intangibles of being a great quarterback, and he was a great quarterback. He carried that city for 7 years, 8 years?
Mm-hmm.
And
I covered that team. I was in that locker room.
He was great, man.
Back in 2012 to 2016 or whatever it was.
You know what I'm saying? He was great, man. He was great. Put him in this offense, he'd have been greater.
Kenny just put this in chat. He went 15-1 with Ted Ginn Jr. and Jericho Cotchery as his wide receivers.
Exactly.
Like Steve Smith, because of Dave Gettleman's idiot ass, left after 1 year. So after that, he had his best wide receiver time was Ted Ginn Jr. and Kelvin Benjamin.
Like
that was, and again,
Kelvin Benjamin was a tight end. No, he was actually a left tackle.
Right? Now, and he was out of shape all the time. Greg Olsen, let me put some respect on his name. He had Greg Olsen, but he had D'Angelo Williams. He had Jonathan Stewart. Had some good players.
He had your boy from your running back too. He had what's his name from the 49ers.
Oh,
for a year, for 2 years actually, didn't he?
I don't remember who you're talking about then.
Running back for the 49ers now.
For the 49ers now? McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
Oh, well, he was injured and sort of done by the time McCaffrey got there. And I wasn't there for that. But, yeah, you're right. I'm with you. It's cap. I mean, everybody in Philadelphia is yelling at Cam Newton right now. Yeah. They're yelling at his opinions. And I'm glad you said that because I bet Devin would say fact. Because what I said was if you ask players about Cam Newton, it's a totally different opinion than asking fans and asking media members about Cam Newton. That dude and being in that locker room was literally Superman. Cam Newton's actually, and again, I've been around basketball players. I've been around offensive tackles. I've been around Julius Peppers. I've been around Jason Peters. I felt like for some reason Cam Newton was the biggest human being I've ever been next to.
Bro, people don't understand how big he is.
His calves were this big. He's 6'6", and calves run through trucking people in arm. He was literally Superman on the field. And when he was an MVP doing those things, again, he didn't have what Jamar Chase has. He didn't even have what Pat Mahomes had. And at the time of him being the running QB he was, they were still trying to do Donovan McNabb things to him. Okay, stay in the pocket. We don't want to, right? They were still in the era in the mid-2010s of
he got hit.
He gets hit and let's limit what running quarterbacks do. Now they allow running quarterbacks and movement quarterbacks and they make a game plan around them.
Right.
But Cam Newton was a supernova. Again, you talking about a Heisman Award winner, MVP, number one
big,
draft pick,
fast,
rookie
strong,
of the year, big, fast, strong, and it was doing it with weapon. And again, I love Ron Rivera, right? Great guy, wife, great person, all great people. He didn't have some of the head coaches that some of these greats have right now that even Jalen Hurts has. And it's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. This is more of a topic to let people realize how good Cam Newton was. Throw all that other stuff out the windows, wins, losses. You ask a player like yourself, how good was Cam Newton? And there was
no question how he was a great great specimen. You know, you see him walk into a locker room. And when he walks in the locker room, you're like, damn, is that a starting 3? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're thinking. You know, do he play for the Hornets? You know what I'm saying? That's what you look at him like. He's that big, but we're talking about he's the size of he's bigger than his tight end.
Yeah.
You know, he's bigger than his tight end. He's way bigger.
He was the biggest person when I was in the locker room, with the exception of when Julius Peppers came back.
Well, Julius Peppers was
right
also.
But he was wider than Julius Peppers.
Yeah.
But Julius Peppers, I was like, yo, you are 6'8", like 270. Like, you're ridiculous.
Bro,
Julius,
he started for the Tar Heels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That just lets you know right there.
Yeah.
He started for the Tar Heels.
Unfreaking believable. All right, let's get to our next factor cap. This is one that's been going around. Stephen A. has had something to say about it. Cam Newton has something to say about it. I think not Cam Newton, Carmelo Anthony had something to say about this. Here's the statement. Factor cap. A European can be the face of the NBA. Fact or cap? Stephen A. And Carmelo say no. Other people say yes.
I'm saying cap.
Okay. Why?
I'm saying cap. I'm saying cap because if that was the case, they would already have they would have Joker as the face of the NBA because he was MVP 2 years in a row. He should have been, you know, and as long as they're players like LeBron, they'll never be that way. Mm-hmm. Never. And I think, you know what I'm saying, we have guys right now that are coming into their fold. I think Anthony Edwards will be the face of the NBA before a guy comes in from Europe and becomes the face of the NBA.
Okay, so you're saying that's fact. It can't.
Huh?
So you're saying fact.
Fact, yeah.
Okay.
Fact.
I say cap. I think the problem is LeBron and Steph haven't gone anywhere.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so, but after that, I
think
face of the NBA has always been the best player. Right? Like, and I know it's always been an American previous to now, but it's always been the best player, the most exciting player. The player with
that's Joker.
Yeah, but again, but once LeBron and Steph get out of here.
Right.
I'm saying to myself, it can be a European play because no one else comes close. Right? Like Anthony Edwards is the guy that everyone says has the excitement. People call him Baby Jordan and all those other things. But he openly said, I don't want to be the face of the NBA.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to be straight-laced, play the politics, and you know what I mean? Like he's more of the Allen Iverson, Carmelo lane. Like if you ever seen him, Anthony Edwards, have an interview, the things that he says,
you can't say
the
that.
Curse words he says, the slang that he says.
You can't talk like he talks.
And he wants to be like that forever. He's like KD and like, I'm going to go ball and I'm going to go home. Right. He don't care about nothing. Right? Like, so he's not going to be the face of the NBA.
No.
And so everybody else you look at is not from here. And I think people will gravitate towards that. Once LeBron and Steph move out the way, you're going to have to market those Europeans because literally they're like 5 of the best 6 players in the NBA are not American, right? Giannis, Jokic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is Canadian, Luka Doncic, like all those guys are not from here. The best American player is Jason Tatum, which good-looking guy has the superstar girlfriend, all of that other stuff.
He's
but
from the crib. He's from St. Louis.
He ain't got the personality.
He's from St. Louis.
He's from your crib. He ain't got the personality.
No, he doesn't.
To do so. And so it's him and Anthony Edwards are the 2 best American players.
And neither one want it.
I think Anthony doesn't want it. I don't think Jason has the personality to really market it. So it's got to be. So I think it will be a European player. I'm guessing Luka. Luka's in LA now.
Yeah. He is.
It's going to be Luka or Shea. Shea was at Fashion Week. Right? So if you get invited to Fashion Week and you doing Calvin Klein ads, well, then you probably the guy. Next,
and then Victor, you got to think Victor too, man.
And Victor too, but Victor's also I just want to play basketball, go home guy. So we'll see. He's gonna be Tim Duncan-esque.
Yeah.
Where you may be the best player, but
big fundamentals, but
you ain't trying to. You trying to just go home, right? The last factor cap. Shaq is a good teammate. Factor cap. Let me give you some background story on this. This story popped back up. I've heard it before, but it popped back up lately. Shaq, when he was a Phoenix Sun, he took I think his name was Amundsen, however you say his name, another center on the team, took his mouthpiece Put it in his butt. His
No.
crack. Rubbed it all over. Lou didn't know. Ended up playing the entire game with that mouthpiece on.
Well, we just wouldn't have had. If it was me, we just wouldn't have had Shaq on TNT. I'd have beat his big ass.
And that's the crazy thing for me. And again, that's why I'm saying Cap. Shaq's not a good person.
No.
The more I learn about Shaq, like he used to, he's 7 foot, so he could look over the stalls. Like he would look over the stalls while people were using the bathroom, and then sometimes throw things over. Like,
Oh no, you can't.
Because he's Shaq, nobody wants to squabble. Because Shaq will fight you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to squabble. Like, not even a teammate says, Shaq, don't do that. This is a joke. You big ass kid. You have to kill me, Shaq.
No, there's no question.
You have to
about
kill
that.
me.
One of us would not be. I wouldn't be doing this podcast, or else he wouldn't be on TNT doing that show. One of us would have to leave this earth because I would have to almost kill everybody that knew about it.
And that's the difference between football players and basketball players.
I'm just saying, dog. You just can't play like that, man. I watched in college one time.
I was about to ask you if you had a story about it, any teammates being ridiculous.
And one of my guys, you know what I'm saying, real close friend of mine, he had a blister on his foot. And he cut the blister off, and he had the skin in his hand. And he asked this other guy, hey, I'll give you $20 if you eat this. And dude ate it for $20 on the bottom of this man's foot after practice. Didn't he take a shower or nothing after practice? I looked at him differently from that point on.
What?
Right, and I played O-line, and I tell all the time, look, I don't play O-line games. O-line's some sick individuals. I never played that type of thing. I'm at Kansas State University, and he ate it for $20. I don't care how much money you'd have gave me for it. I would not have done it. And I'm talking about I'm poor, broken, and college. We had just got out of practice. And he had a blister on the bottom of his foot about that big, and he cut the skin off.
I have so many questions. Like, some of the questions I feel like I can't ask because I'll get in trouble. You know what I mean? I have something that pops in my mind right away that I'm like, I'm not going to ask that right now because I don't know if the powers that be would be very happy with me. But what are we talking about?
Right.
Like the nastiest.
I was the only black offensive lineman, too, though. That just puts it.
See, I didn't want to say it. $20, though?
20.
And you did it for $20?
I'm just letting you know. They know better. They knew better than even ask me that. One time,
I went to high school one time. And again, we gotta wrap this up. I went to high school one time, and they had a cup, and they put different condiments in it, ketchup, stuff like that. And then a couple people spit in it. Spit in the cup. There's ketchup. There's condiments. There's all types of things in this cup. And they told this kid drink it, and everybody put what they had in their pockets. This is high school, right? Like dollars, quarters, whatever it was. It probably was like $17.50, and he drank it. People spit, ketchup, drank it. I'm sorry, Sunday Spread. I didn't know we were gonna go here.
Yeah.
Shaq is the reason that we got here. We got to end the show right here. Again, we'll be back next week, and hopefully it won't be as nasty. Devin Caney will bring some.
That's betting right there.
Yeah,
$20.
Exactly. Devin Caney will bring some legitimacy and some demure behavior back to this group. Once again, this has been the Sunday Spread presented by BetMGM. I can't even speak right now. Y'all have a good one.
Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly. Get ready to experience the ultimate fusion of wagering and entertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Kicking off your morning with the Daily Tip with Michael Jenkins and Chelsea Messenger.
Over.
It's a very simple way to look at it. It's the best way to look at it.
Followed by the newly branded Bet Sweats with Joe O and Sammy P.
When I stop talking, that's when you jump in usually.
He said, ring that bell! He said, ring that bell! Then it's You Better You Bet, hosted by Nick Costos and Femi Abebefe.
Great teams and great players get a whistle. It's happened forever. It will continue to happen.
Capped off every night with the electric Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat on BetMGM tonight.
Oh, that's a sexy phrase.
Quote Dr. Dre, creep with me and walk with me on this one.
Welcome to a new era of wagertainment. This is the BetMGM Network. Please gamble responsibly.